Welcome to Veteran Voices, SITREP, with your hosts, Tom and Chris Faust.
Welcome to Veteran Voices with me, Tom Faust, and my son, Chris, who just made it. So, how do? Anyway, today we want to talk a little bit about the value of continuous learning, going out and always learning something new, finding something you can do when you get out of the military, transfer into civilian life, or just as you continue your career to build your career, to advance, to get ahead, make more money, get better position, whatever it is you're looking for. And if we have the time, we'll also maybe talk about certifications and what those can do for you. To start out, I just wanted to say that, you know, the job market really changes rapidly, especially with all the online stuff these days. Technology is bringing extra things, making extra things available and making other things obsolete. And so you really need to kind of stay on top of what is needed these days in education. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up. And I don't know if you started to say something, Chris. I don't know if you have something you wanted to add in there.
Yeah, the job market, how it is, there's, you know, things seem to be going towards more of a remote, or at least that's what people want to do. Nobody wants to drive in traffic and everything anymore. I know I don't, but, you know, unfortunately just, you know, do what we have to do. But yeah, there's a lot of options out there now that weren't, you know, 10, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of, you know, freelancers that can do things like, you know, proofreading documents, you know, selling stuff on Etsy or Amazon, you know, things like that. Or there's different careers that you can do where a lot of your tech support, if you want to go into the technical field, you know, whether it's IT or phones or whatever, a lot of those can be done remotely because you just, as long as you have a phone, you have internet, so you can do research and manage a ticketing system, whatever you need. So there is a lot out there that you just kind of need to figure out kind of what you want to do and how to go about it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of businesses, you know, these days will have jobs that you can do remotely. If you look online at jobs available on Indeed or Monster or LinkedIn or wherever, a lot of it you can see has remote as long as you have the right skills. Mm-hmm. But you can even do it on your own on a contract basis, things like be a virtual assistant to somebody's business they give you tasks to do and you can just perform those tasks. It's more of a clerical sort of thing where you may not need quite as much specialized education. Those things are available as well.
Yeah, virtual bookkeeping as well. I've seen out there too, where as long as you have, you know, knowledge of Excel, you can put numbers in there and help keep track of things like that, way track sales and all that. Then yeah, there's opportunities for that too.
The things you have to be aware of when doing this, of course, are when you're working remote, especially, you need to be able to manage your time really well. And if you're working a contract, you have to make sure you're taking care of your own taxes. So there are things to be aware of, and getting some education on these things, learning from either someone that teaches a trade, or you can learn things in community college that is fairly inexpensive. You can use your GI Bill to actually go to university, depending on your qualifications of getting into the college. You have to have your SATs and all that. But yeah, all these things are available. But you have to kind of look at the ramifications. What is it that you need to be able to step into a particular career and learn the basics and then work your way up? Yeah,
which goes right into learning, because you know, part of getting a job when you get out is, you know, being able to, you know, continue to learn and be able to. We all know that it's so much easier for the younger kids to learn things just because their minds are still developing, so they can catch on to things a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. And then as you get older, you really have to put a focus on trying to learn it and doing what you can to retain it, just because it doesn't come as easy to us. So that's another thing to keep in mind too is when you're trying to learn is like, what are you trying to learn? Is it, is it going to be valid? And you kind of help overcome challenges of learning. You can do it with, I guess, just a lot of routine practice on things. Just got to keep trying to apply it.
Yeah. And the places that you can go to learn things, like I mentioned, community college or something, but even if you just want to do something on your own that doesn't cost hardly anything, you can learn almost anything on YouTube these days, as long as you're willing to watch some ads in between. But there's YouTube, LinkedIn. It used to be lynda.com had some courses you could take. Those might cost a little bit, but they shouldn't be too expensive. But that's part of LinkedIn now. So you can go to linkedin.com and they have their learning section. And then, of course, like I mentioned, community college. And then it's good to have a support system behind that. So you have people encouraging you, somebody you can talk to when you need help. And this could be friends, family, fellow students. It could be counselors at a community college. There are ways to get the support that you need as well.
Yeah, I like how a lot of our conversations that we have about these things, a lot of it is helped by a support system. We were talking last time about keeping physically fit and working out and things like that. Is you need a support system and somebody to keep you motivated, keep you trying, so that way you don't kind of just let it fall by the wayside. Same thing goes for school, because going back to school or learning anything is going to be annoying at times, and your brain's just not going to want to do it. You're like, I don't want to, and you just got to have that support element to say, hey, keep it up. You're doing a great job. You can do this. Yeah,
that's true. It's always important to have support. On our own, it's hard to keep momentum going. It's hard to have the motivation when you're just by yourself. And so you always want to have somebody else that you can talk to about it. Somebody that's going to push you a little bit and make you work a little harder than maybe you would have otherwise. This is where like coaches come in handy. That's why teams, pro teams, college teams, whatever, they have coaches. And the coach keeps the players on task and makes sure that they're doing the things they need to do. That's what your support system is for.
And it's also kind of rules into, while you're getting this motivation that you need to help you to it, skill development is going to lead to new opportunities, promotions, potential career changes. It's like, in the field that I'm in the IT field, you have people that come in as a tier 1 help desk. So they're going to do the basic support for customers of, password resets, little email troubleshooting. And that's all fine and good. And you can stick with that and do what you want. But the only way you're going to advance into dealing with, working on servers or firewalls or, network things like that is you're going to have to develop skills. You're going to have to learn more. You're going to have to get certifications, which we'll, probably end up talking about a little later on. But you're going to need to learn and get that knowledge and retain it. So that way you can be, all right, I can work on bigger and more things. And then you can branch paths from helping people still, customer facing or, back end stuff like I do, or, administrate a bunch of different back end systems that the company uses to support the different customers that we support.
Yeah. And then learning these new skills, it gives you extra career opportunities and ways to advance, to get a better position and to get raises and more pay, which is always good. But it also helps, when you have more skills, it helps build your confidence and gives you the ability to adapt more and to, with some specialized knowledge here and there. A lot of times you can use that to help solve other problems that aren't even directly related to what you were doing, but still need to get done. But it gives that confidence to be able to do those kind of things.
One of the things too is when you get out, you kind of don't really, you might not have a direction or know. I do know that military.com has a page for veterans for job resources and things like that, for something that they might be able to do to either get them into the field or at least get them something in the meantime that they can do so they can pay bills while they focus on what they really want to do or even decide what they really want to do.
Sure. Yeah. They have that. And I'll include a link to that later on, along with links for some other things we're talking about, such as, like I mentioned LinkedIn earlier with their Lynda courses, but they have actually have a section specially for veterans. Coursera has a veterans area where they have courses that are geared toward veterans transitioning to civilian life. There's a program with the Department of Education called Upward Bound Veterans Upward Bound, that is specialized really for low income. So depending where you're at, if you really need a lot of help, can't afford to get these other educational things, if you qualify, then the Department of Education has programs that can help veterans as well.
Yeah, and that'll be good too, because you might get the GI Bill when you get out of the military, but with the cost of everything going up, I mean, who knows how far that's actually going to get you? Yeah, any additional resources that you can find, the opportunities for knowing where to go to hopefully get those resources is going to be beneficial.
Yeah. But by all means, make use of the GI Bill. It's there for a reason. You've earned it by putting in your time in the military, and this is part of your benefit for doing that. Mm-hmm. I know for you, it was one of the reasons that you joined in the first place, because you wanted money for college.
Yep.
Yeah. But so let's go ahead and start talking about certifications a little bit. Certifications are when you learn a specialized skill that you need to actually take a test and pass, and you get a certificate, and says you are qualified to do whatever this job or role is. There's a lot of these in IT. There's a lot in other areas as well. In legal areas, in medical and health related, for I don't know, just anything. There's various jobs that you can do require certifications. Mm-hmm. And it can help even if you're in a job that doesn't require one. The place you work may have roles that you can move into if you were to be certified. And so those are things that are definitely worth looking into, especially if the employer is willing to pay for the training and for the test for you.
Yeah, those are always the really good companies to do, the ones that say, hey, we value education, so we are more than happy to provide you reimbursement for courses or certifications if you pass them, because one, that's going to make the company more viable for what they offer to customers. Mm-hmm. And two, it's going to make you a stronger individual for the job position that you're in. But even going for that, if doing it for before it makes you stand out in a resume, or at least it can. So that way it can help you get in the door compared to somebody who you're going up against who's also interviewing for that same position. You may or may not know them. That could give you the edge if you're certified and you're like, hey, I can do these things here and the other guy can't. All right, that's going to be points in your favor.
Yeah, and the certification is basically your proof that you can do these things. You've passed the test, you have the documentation. And so, that gives you some extra recognition in the company, and value to the place that you're working. So it gives you a way to show your employer that you're doing, going the extra mile, doing the work that it takes to move up, to do better, and to be a better, higher quality employee. And it can really give you more confidence, give your employer more confidence in the quality of the work that you do.
And that's especially important in the technology field, because that's, with a lot of the stuff, like, there's AI coming out, can do a lot of things, but there's always going to be a need for a human element in these things, especially when it comes to supporting customers with their technology. Because you can Google search all day, you can watch a YouTube video on how to fix a computer, but there's just certain things that you could spend hours and hours researching, or hey, somebody, or there's a company that handles these things that you do. So, but the field changes a lot. There's so many advancements in technology, even in healthcare and digital marketing, and you need to stay certified and knowledgeable of these changes, because that's going to keep you competitive as an employee, whether you're going for a different job or a promotion. That you just need to continually learn and keep up with the trends.
And one of the really good ways to stay on top of these things and to know what, even get ideas about what it is that you might want to move into, is to continue networking, and that is to have people, your peers, your teachers, the people you work with, work for. They can be a real high value for growing in your career and learning about new opportunities. I mean, if you go on websites like Alignable, for instance, Alignable is one where it's all about networking and finding people. You can, you put in your skills, the things that you're interested in, and it'll kind of line you up and offer networking opportunities where you can go online and like for an hour long meeting. And in that meeting, they'll have maybe 50 people, but you'll have 7 or 8 minutes with each of maybe, 6 or 7 of them. And so it's a random choice of who's in the meeting, but you get to meet different people and talk with them and make new contacts. And these contacts could turn into job opportunities or just, even just friendships for that matter. Yeah. But it's always good to network, to have people that you're talking with on a regular basis. And that can really help grow your career as well.
It can. And then on top of the networking, that can also open opportunities for additional, whether it's additional trainings or learnings, because they might have something, under their belt that you didn't even realize you needed. And then that can expound with the potential for increased salaries or wages, because you're taking the time to learn these things. And then even your employers can see it. Like we'd mentioned before, like the employers see that you're trying to better yourself to benefit, them as well as yourself. And that typically leads to advances, whether it's in salary or in different positions moving up.
Yeah, there have been studies that actually show that having these certifications can boost your salary by as much as 10 or 20%, depending on the industry. Some are higher. Healthcare is not as high as like legal or IT, but you can check with some of the resume websites like Indeed.com, for instance, and they talk about certifications can be as much as 30% more in income than somebody without the certification. But again, you have to understand that it depends on which field you're in. Some are higher, some are lower. We'll post links to these studies as well in case you're interested in all the technical details. But yeah, it can really help. The certifications really help your ability to advance.
Yeah. And then the fortunate thing too with the way things are changing nowadays is that it's not just you have to sit in a classroom to take classes and take tests like that. There's online courses now that are available, and they're typically cheaper than sitting in a class for X amount of days to learn the material, when you can actually go online, learn it, complete the trainings, complete it at your own pace. That's another big thing with a lot of different things that take up our time nowadays, to have that flexibility, be like, okay, I can take an hour today to go over some of these classes, an hour the next day. Oh, well, I can't do it this day because something came up. Instead of, missing a class, you're like, okay, you've got the flexibility to say, all right, I don't need to do it this day, so I can do it another day and handle whatever you need to.
Yeah, you can learn at your own pace. That really helps. And that's the idea with certifications. It really doesn't matter how you learn the information. You can do it on your own. You can do it on your own. You can learn it in school or on the job training or whatever. What matters is when you go to take the test. You pass the test, you're certified. They don't care how you learned it, as long as you can pass the test.
Yep.
So that's very useful. And it really gives you credibility in the field you're working in, and as a professional, it makes you stand out. It's definitely worthwhile.
Yeah. There's also, it's also a requirement for things too, because if you're going to want to, be a CIO of a company, you can't just come off, right off the street, fresh out of college and be like, all right, I'm going to manage the infrastructure and IT for an entire big company. You need certifications, you need training, you need knowledge, you need experience. And that's for most industries. They require some form of certification or training in order to move to the upper echelons of the company.
Yeah, even for trades that you might think they may not be too difficult to get into, but if you want to advance, if you want to be an electrician or a plumber or anything, something like that, there are definitely certifications for these things. That's why they have apprentice and master plumbers and that kind of thing. It's because you have to work your way, learning more and more, and then taking these tests to certify and to qualify as those positions. Yeah.
And there's even been, I've even, heard of a lot of uptick in actual trade schools being a thing now, more so than it was. Like, it's, you grow up, you send your kids to college and they do that. But now it's like trade schools are on the rise too. Because I mean, you're always going to need somebody in that trade, whether it is for plumbing or an electrician or a car mechanic, truck mechanic, things like that.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a lot of things, but even if you have the electric cars, if you want to go that route, there's going to need to be somebody to fix them.
Yeah, somebody has to maintain it. Somebody has to be able to design and build them, for that matter. Security
jobs as well.
Oh, sure, yeah. But I was going to say that a lot of jobs are kind of going away when you have if you're a clerk in a store. Stores are closing because of all the online stuff is more efficient and cheaper and easier for people to do, and so a lot of stores will close. But people are always going to need somebody to repair their furnace or their air conditioner, or to fix their plumbing, or to build new things. Even there's, you can work construction without any real training as far as building something, but if you want to do the installation of the electrical or the plumbing or any of the network, if people want to network in their house, all these things need certifications.
It's a lot more, it can be overlooked. People might think, oh, well, I don't want to get all these certifications. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. They're overlooked. It's like, well, it really does have a lot of benefits that you might not be aware of. So definitely researching, especially in the field that you want to go into, or if you're in a current field and you're just like, okay, well, I'd like doing this, but I like doing the exact job that you're doing within it. What other options are there?
Very true. So I think that pretty much covers what we wanted to talk about today, unless there's anything else you wanted to interject, Chris.
Not that I have right now that I can think of. I think it's
okay.
Nice little brain dump we gave people, so they can they can take what we say and do what they want with it. Sure,
of course. And we'll provide the resources, the links to everything that we've talked about, so that people can do the research that they need. And by all means, we thank you for listening or watching, depending which way you're seeing this. Mm-hmm. And if you have any comments, anything you want to say about it, if you got anything good out of it, please let us know. Throw those comments on there, because we'd love to hear back.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to the next episode, because we're going to have a guest speaker. So we're going to touch base, I think, on veteran benefits as at least one of the subjects that we're going to talk about. So looking forward to that.